Welcome to Mastering Sales. I'm Brent Gove. It's good to have you with me. Man, I got a topic for you guys today. I'm super juiced to do this. So today I want to talk about how to just thrive with this whole buyer, seller, how do I get paid deal. So here's my advice to you. We're going to go fast. I'm going to be done in 10 minutes. Number one, tell your buyers, come into the office. I want to do a buyer consultation for you. It's important to me that you totally understand the process. You understand what closing costs are, interest rates, how I can get you the best financing terms. You may buy the best home and get the worst financing terms that could cost you $50,000, $100,000 in unnecessary interest over the course of a loan. And so come into the office and let me show you why I'm going to help you get a phenomenal deal on your dream home. Not just get you a home. I'm going to find you a home that you are excited about. I'm going to show you how I do that. Then when they come in, first thing you want to do, write this down and say, why do you even want to buy? Ask them why. Don't tell them how great you are. Say, why do you want to buy a home? And they'll say, well, we want to raise a family. We're tired of living in apartments. The home we're renting, the sellers are moving back into it or they're putting it for sale. Whatever the reasons are, go, are you aware of the tax benefits? Not really. Can you explain that? And you tell them, look, the mortgage payment, that's $2,900 a month and scaring you to death. That's probably going to save you $500 a month in taxes. Talk to a tax profession. That should follow that. Go talk. It's different for everybody. It may be 600, it may be 400. It could be more, it could be less. Probably going to be about 500 a month in tax savings, but talk to a CPA. Do you have one? You can give them one or just say, Google them. They're everywhere. Go talk to them, find out what your situation is. But so really a $2,900 a month house payment is more like $2,400 because you're going to get back $500 a month because of this tax and what you're paying. Look at your gross pay, go get a paycheck and look at the net. And the difference, of course, the joke is the difference is gross, right? It's terrible. And so you talk to about the equity buildup, about how it's the number one thing people do to get their financial start in life is to buy a home, and then taxes, equity, taxes, and then the self-respect of being a homeowner. You're going to love being able to have a picnic in your backyard. You're going to love letting the kids run around the backyard. I had a couple, one time they said, we don't care about any of that stuff. We had someone get on the balcony of our apartment complex in Folsom, California, which is a very nice community, Intel community, and they stole all of our bicycles. It bothers us to know that a thief was on our balcony. Well, it's up on the second story. Like, we don't always lock that slider. There was a criminal on our balcony. They go, we want out, and they bought a $780,000 home from me. This is a while back. It'd be like a probably $8 million home today in today's things. But I really chimed in. Won't it be great for your kids to play in the backyard? I'm not worrying about being abducted. You let your kids run around the apartment complex? They're like, of course we don't. I tell you what, isn't it going to be great to let your kids out in the backyard? Isn't it going to be great to put your bikes in the garage, a 3-car or 4-car garage? Shut the garage, not worry about your bikes being stolen. Isn't it going to be great to live in a beautiful community? And it worked. And I sold them an amazing home. They've been looking off and on for 2 years, but I found out their motivations. Number one, ask them why they want to buy. Number two, explain the benefits of home ownership. And then number three, tell them whether you're aware of this or not. There was a huge lawsuit throughout the United States against NAR, the National Association of Realtors, and the government stepped in and they wanted, and there was a lawsuit, and basically they want buyers to have to negotiate with the seller. The way it's always been, a seller has always paid the commission for the buyer. They said, nope, it can't be that way. That's price fixing. The buyer has to have the option to pay. It has to be a negotiated thing. So how this works is, if you have an agent, our fee is 4%. Our fee is 10%. Like land deals is 10%. So like my fee is 10%. H&R Block will do your taxes for $295. My CPA starts at $3,000, 10x. So my fee is 10%. So I'm only saying this to shock you guys, because now you guys were all worried about asking for 3. Now 3 doesn't sound so bad, does it? It doesn't. And maybe you should ask for 3.5% or 2.5%, whatever. We're not allowed. Charge whatever you want. My fee is 5%. Keep saying, everyone say right now, my fee is 10%. And then when you do ask for 3 or 4%, it's nothing. Some of you are so beat back. You're like, I can't ask for 3. I can't. You see yourself making waiter and waitress pay, general manager of an Applebee's pay, and there are tax professionals that charge 500 to do your taxes, and the other tax professionals that charge 5,000. I pay my bookkeeper 12,000 a month, not a year. I pay my bookkeeper 12,000 a month. 12,000 a month. Just the bookkeeper. We probably spend $250,000 a year easily on taxes and attorneys, and easily $250,000 a year. Are they crooks? Nope. I'm willing to pay for it. I want it. And so, yep, there are some clients that want to pay you as little as possible. So you kind of explain what you'll do for them. Here's how I'm going to help you get a good deal. Most agents do 30-day escrows. I do them in 10. Most agents will have you ask for repairs. Not all of them, but some will. We do it as is. Let me ask you a question. You want your dream home, or do you want some handyman repairs? And shut up and let them answer the question. And guess what? We want a dream home. I go, good, because the agents that are asking for repairs usually come back and they say, no, we're not doing anything. Sometimes you do something, fix a cracked tile, fix a broken fence post, fix a broken sprinkler. Those are handyman repairs. Now, if it's something significant, you can cancel the sale. But I recommend going as is. We'll make sure the roof's good, the air conditioning good, the home's on a good foundation. As long as all those things line up, we'll move forward. And so here's the deal. When you close in 10 days, you give the seller their money in 10 days. I think, well, they got to be able to move out. Yeah, you give them 30 days to move out, 40 days to rent out. Now, I've seen this. The normal agents will ask for, how much is it going to cost you? Well, my new payment's $2,900 a month. Let's ask the seller to pay that. The seller goes, well, my payment is $1,400 a month. I am not paying double. You're fighting over $1,500 a month. You're about to lose your dream home over $1,500. Do you want $1,500, or do you want your dream home? I personally would never ask a seller to pay a dime in rent. I hit the easy button. And so you get a same. We're not going to charge for rent back. Everybody else is going to charge. They're going to ask for $1,200, $1,400. Do you want $1,200, $1,400, $1,600? Or do you want your dream home in the right neighborhood, the one you're so excited you can't even go say, what is it you want? And shut up. Like, we want a dream home. I go, so guess what? We're going to close in 10. We're going to say 30, 40 days rent free. Everyone else is going to ask for $1,000 security deposit in case something breaks. And all they have is 1,000. Let me ask you a question. If you have two comparable offers and they're identical, and one is asking for $1,000 security deposit and one isn't, and then the sellers go, how does that work? Well, if the buyer doesn't agree for you to get it back, Mr. Seller, you have to go to court and sue them. I've asked them, why did you choose us? Because you didn't ask for a security deposit. We got an $800,000 home and of course they asked for maybe a $2,000 or $3,000 security deposit, and which people rarely ever get. But they lose their dream home, a $500,000, $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 dream home, because they asked for chump change. Well, that's irresponsible. We must ask for a security deposit. That's what Coldwell Banker will catch you. No offense. Coldwell Banker taught me that 30 years ago. Do not ever ask for security deposit. You ask for $2,000, $3,000, $1,000, hardly ever gets used. B, I'm not asking for it. All things being equal, if you were the seller, would you pick the offer that is not asking for security deposit, or the one who is? What would you pick? And I shut up and I would pick the one that didn't ask for it. I would pick the one that wasn't charging me $2,900 in rent back or $1,400. This one's free. I could stay for 40 days for free. I'd pick that one. Do you want to wait 30 days to get paid, or 10? Well, we're really not in a hurry. The problem is if something goes wrong, day 25, day 28, day 29, you're starting over, but you're packed up on your way to Pennsylvania. And so how would you like to get all your money in 10 days and skip out of this thing to Scottsdale, Arizona, or Austin, Texas, or Nashville with money in hand? The deal's not going south. Peace, joy. This is what I will do for you. Agents don't know how to do this. Watch this video again and again and again till you memorize what I just said. This is why you want me. I'm applying for a job to represent you. I'm great at what I do. By the way, my fee is 3.5%. The normal fee typically runs anywhere from traditionally 2.5% to 3%. I'm a pro. I'm 3.5%. You want me? I'm 3.5%. I'm 5%. I'm 10%. I've charged 10% before. A little $90,000 piece of land, I charged 10%. I got a $9,000 commission. I said, I'm not going to work for 2.5% of $90,000. That's $2,200. My broker gets a chunk. The IRS gets a chunk. I make $800 or $900. I can't do that. It's 10%. So the whole point of that NAR thing is that we're not supposed to. You charge what you want to charge. So I tell the client, hey, it's 3.5%. Now you're buying a home. Let's say three, just to make it easy. I'm picking random numbers. Three, just for simplicity. The home's 500,000. So the commission's what? 15,000 bucks. So the whole NAR lawsuit says, buyer, they want you to have the option to have to pay it. They don't want the seller forced to pay it. So let me ask you a question. You have a down payment of X. You have closing costs. Do you want to pay what the seller traditionally has paid for 100 years? Do you want to pick up what's on their side of the tab? Do you want to pay 15,000 extra? 100 years they have paid it gladly. The government, this whole lawsuit wants you to. No, I don't want to pay that. In fact, I don't have the money. Okay, you'd be really clear here. Say, okay, so I'm going to go to the listing agent and see if the seller's willing to pay it. Now, if the seller won't pay the 3%, you have to pay it. Brent, I don't have the money. We have enough money for down payment, closing costs. Okay, so if that's the case and the seller refuses to pay what they've always paid for 100 years, and trust me, there's a few knuckles out there, heads that are out there that will do that, then would you like me not to show you that house? Because if I show you the home and you love it, you have to come up with 15,000 you don't have, nor do you want me to pay. And then you shut up again and let them go, no, there's many homes out there. If it were me, I would skip that home, but it's up to you. How would you like? Because you have a fiduciary to your buyer. You have to really nip this in the butt. I'm like, no, I'm good with you skipping it. So I write in your buyer broker, buyer is comfortable skipping homes where the seller refuses to pay the 3% or 3.5% or 10% or 7 or 5 or 2, whatever it is you want to charge. If they refuse to pay what they've always paid for 100 years, I wouldn't write that in there, but it's true. They've paid the buyer's agent's commission for 100+ years. And so here's the deal. You write it in there. If the seller won't pay whatever it is you're negotiating, I'll stick with 3 in this example. Then I wish you to pass on that house, because I don't want to come up with not only my down payment of 5%, which is 25,000, closing costs probably another 33,000. I don't want to be house rich and bank account poor. If I paid the last 15 grand, I'd be broke. And so get permission to skip it. So now I call Noel Kreider. Hey, Noel. Hey, Clark Broom. Hey, Steve Hillier. Hey, Melissa. Hey, Herb. Guess what? Is your seller cooperating? Because I have the perfect buyer for the house. I see it's been there 3 weeks. I have the perfect buyer, but I'm not willing to show it if your seller's not willing to pay. You fulfilled your fiduciary to your buyer. The trick here is if you haven't cleared it up front, then you're potentially violating a fiduciary with your buyer to show them what's on the market. You've already written in the buyer broker agreement, I can't show you property till you sign this. That also came out of this lawsuit. Nobody can show you property without this being signed. And you write in there, buyer wishes to bypass on all properties where the seller refuses to pay the 3% cooperating commission to the broker. You write that in there. And so I just talked to EXP today to double and triple check what I'm talking to you about. And so guess what? You've done your fiduciary to your buyer. You tell Noel, would your seller, well, I don't know if they'd be willing to. Why don't you come show it and write an offer and we'll see what they're willing to do. Noel, I love you. I've known you for 20 years. I am not willing to bring my San Jose buyer, my San Francisco buyer. They're paying cash. They're excited. I think they're the perfect buyer, but I'm not willing to buy them. And they've instructed me, unless your seller's going to pay the cooperation fee of then forget it. Okay, I told my client. They said they'd pay a fee. They're not sure how much. It depends on how good your offer is. I says, oh man, that's awesome. That's great news. Unfortunately, I don't go to work. Would you imagine going to work and not knowing what they're going to pay you? Well, we'll see how good you do, and we'll see if you get 18 an hour or 28 an hour or 48 an hour. Well, depending upon how you do this year, we'll pay you 80,000 a year or 180,000 a year. No, we negotiate those things up front. And so say, Noel, Clark, Steve, call your seller back and tell them the fee is 3%. If they're willing to pay the fee of 3%, I will gladly bring my out-of-town buyer. I think this home is perfect for him. If you won't, we got 14 other homes to see. We got 3 other homes to see. We have 7 other. Reverse the FOMO. Write that down. Reverse the FOMO. We have 7 other homes to see. And we'll go look at those, and we will gladly take yours off the list. So just let your seller know that. Oh my God, it's so much fun. And then you may have some that actually say, yeah, fine, don't show it. And you'll never even tell your client about it. Or your client, Brent, what if my client told me about it? You say, look, I talked to Noel, I talked to Clark, I talked to Steve, I talked to Melissa. The seller will not pay it, which means you got to come up with, and this is $600,000. 3% of that is $18,000 fee. You want it? Yeah, we found a way we come up with it. Okay, let's go look at it. Got it? And so that is how you show property and actually get paid. But you have to negotiate it all up front. Then you send over a piece of paper. And Steve Hill, you could probably tell you what the name of it. I'm a little rusty. But you send over a piece of paper to the seller to have the seller sign before you show up because you have a verbal. Yeah, I'll pay 3%. Fine. And then when you go to write your offer, they're like, nah, we're not paying anything. We'll pay 1%. So before you go show that property, just DocuSign over, hey, if my clients buy this home, you are paying 5%, 10%, 7%, 2%, 3 in this example of the purchase price. Lock them in, get a signature. Then you mean on every single home? Yep. But guess what? We used to get what was given to us. Sometimes it was 2%, 2.25, 2.5. You get comfortable with this, you can charge 3.5 all day, every day. You'll make 1% more on every sale. We all know that a lot of commissions, there's a downward pressure, and a lot of the commissions were down to 2.5 because they just couldn't negotiate. My kids just bought a house. I was not involved in the transaction. I was out in the Caribbean. I stayed out of it. The listing agent got to a famous guy you would all know if I said his name, and he's not with EXP. And of course, only 2% was given to EXP because they didn't do what I'm teaching, which inspired me to teach you this. The total commission's 4% because the listing agent was weak, and he's actually a really, really well-known guy. I was shocked. Maybe he just wanted to give him a good deal, but I saw in the paperwork he gets 2, we get 2, and so now he'll get 2, you get 3.5. What'd you say? He gets 2, and the particular home price my kids bought was $515,000 in Roseville. I won't say the street name because you can look this person up, he or she. I won't even reveal their gender. But here's the deal. If the listing agent isn't good, fine, they can do it for 1. What do you care? You're getting 3.5. You're getting 3.5. They sign this sheet or we don't go show the property. And you're doing exactly what they want. You're fulfilling your fiduciary. You're negotiating you're getting 1% more. By the way, 1% more on a 500,000, I forget is $5,000. $5,000. You sell 20 homes a year, that's an extra 100,000 a year. This is the greatest thing that ever could have happened to you. You're just a little nervous because you haven't done it yet. All right. So, anyways, I'm at Starbucks. The general manager just walked over to me and said, "You're being a little loud." That guy right there. He's nice. He was nice. So I got in trouble. But anyway, so I'm at the Bohemian Hotel in the lobby Starbucks. Just got off a flight from the Caribbean. We were 3 hours late getting in. I literally ran in here, hooked up to the Wi-Fi, and I'm here. The last one I did was from the car, and so I haven't even. Kathy's up in the room. She checked in, but I'm here for you guys. I hope this was
Keep it up, baby. It's awesome, Brent. Keep it up. We love it.
Question. If anybody has a question, hit the reaction button. Tom, go ahead. Will you unmute yourself, and what's your question?
So my question is, you kind of answered it regarding the writing in that buyer is okay to skip a home where seller is not offering a compensation. You said you already cleared that with EXP. So is that just optional, a seat cover your butt kind of thing, or is that just like it's going to be implemented EXP wide? We need to be doing it now.
Lawsuits come out of verbal things. Verbal schmerble. Verbal means nothing. Seller says, "Yeah, I'll pay you 4%." Send over the little form. Steve, do you remember the name of the form? I'm drawing a blank on the form that we send to the seller.
SPB. SPB.
I knew it. SP.
What does that stand for, Steve?
Seller Payment Buyer Broker.
There you go.
SPB is in boy. Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Sam,
Brent,
Paul,
I was speaking of the writing it in, about the buyer, but what you just asked, Steve, is important too.
Yep.
The seller says they're going to do it. We need to get that SVBB form signed pronto to memorialize the fact that we're going to get paid.
It'll be super easy once you get used to it, but now you're going to get an extra 4, 5, 6, and if you do a home for 900,000, it typically was 2.5. Now you're getting 3. or 3.5, you're getting 9,000 more on that sale. This is going to make a difference for your family. This is the greatest thing that could have ever happened to us. We're not taking what they decided, the crumbs off their table that fall off the table. Hey, we're giving 2%, 2.25, 1.5. We're not taking the crumbs. We're able to negotiate. I'm pumped. Love you guys. Hey, guess what? We're up against the hour at 5:30. Gotta go. I'm gonna do Build Charlotte for the next 2 days. They sold 800 tickets. I'm fired up. We're gonna rock roll. Bye, you guys. Be good. See you next week for Tina Call. It's gonna be great. I'm flying in for Tina Call. See you the 19th at PCAR, 10 to noon. Bring everyone. Pull out all the stops. Be the greatest event we've ever had in Sacramento, California. Bye for now. Love you guys. Bye bye.